1 step forward and 2 steps back. This is how I feel the direction the modern day video game has taken these past few years.
So, why aren't games fun anymore?
So I've had this crushing realization recently that I just don't have as much fun with games anymore.
Where is the love and passion for video games when it was so easy to find 20 years ago?
When I was a kid, I just played games because I had fun playing them. Nowadays, I have to decide whether or not I think a game could even be fun before I give it a shot.
Is gaming actually getting worse? Because it seems like almost every video or Reddit post that I see on the topic of gaming is negative and about why gaming is worse than it used to be. But today, I want to refute that just a little bit and talk about why I think gaming nowadays is not only better than it was before, but it's only getting better. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frank Garcia, and today I'm wearing a button-down shirt. That way it looks like I know what I'm talking about. But for real though, guys, if you enjoy the content or just the raw charisma and dashing good looks, I encourage you guys to lightly tap that like button or check me out on Twitch whenever you get the chance. But yeah, guys, let's get started. So today, I'll be breaking down my argument into 3 different points. 1, why gaming itself is actually getting better and games are getting better. 2, why the structures behind games like microtransactions and loot boxes are actually a net positive for the industry. And finally, why the gaming industry is getting better for the people who make games, like developers. So first up, let's refute one of the points I hear a lot from other gaming news outlets, and that's that games used to be more fun and have more love and blood and sweat and tears put behind them. People talk about old classics like Deus Ex, Majora's Mask, and Morrowind like they're the second coming of Christ, but they forget to look at the greatness that we have in gaming today. And this is seen in no better place than modern day review scores. Because nowadays, it feels like a game can be badly targeted and reviewed just because of things happening that are outside of its grasp or justification. For example, recently Borderlands 3 received a Metacritic score of 84 from the critics on PC, but only 5.3 from users. And the reasons for this varied from people not being happy that the game was only available in the Epic Games Store to people just not being happy with the humor in the game or the main man behind it, Randy Pitchford. And as the gaming space becomes more and more politicized, these problems are just showing themselves in full light and becoming more and more pronounced. And this only helps to perpetuate this idea that gaming is becoming worse and worse. When in reality, a lot of these low scores and people that are so mad about different things happening in gaming are just a small minority, when the actual large majority and handful of gamers are really enjoying these new experiences and loving what they're playing. But it looks like all of these games are getting worse and worse based on review scores just because of how politicized the gaming arena has become. But not only that, I think games themselves are starting to get better and better nowadays. And when I say better, I mean in almost all facets. For example, graphics, which for most people aren't the most important part of a game, but are really important, have been improving tremendously over the last few years. And playing a game like Witcher 3 and having the wind sway the trees in the background and have everything look so realistic is a genuinely more immersive experience, and it's hard to argue that the game is worse for it. But looking past more surface aspects like graphics, I think things in games like story, characters, and raw gameplay is improving as well. I think of recent games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Gears 5 that have such amazing stories and characters, but it feels like people don't talk enough about those in relation to how they compare to games of old. And not only that, But gaming reaches a bigger audience nowadays, which means games can target new and exciting stories and character arcs that they haven't really delved into before. And this can lead to insane, exciting new experiences that are so foreign from all the just gameplay-focused Mario games of old. And I'm tired of people mentioning games like Deus Ex and how amazing they were, while not even in the same breath recognizing the 2017 Prey game from Arcane Studios. And it's because modern games just don't get the appreciation and respect of their former counterparts. Deus Ex was a great game for its time, and even today it stands up as one of the greats. But 2017's Prey, for a lot of people, was never played, and it's a phenomenal Deus Ex-like game with amazing storytelling and world building, interesting characters, and moment-to-moment gameplay that is unparalleled. And a lot of it, I think, comes down to nostalgia, because people like to look back on the games they played when they were younger with such rose-tinted glasses, and they forget to take those glasses off and objectively and genuinely look at newer games as well. To them, newer games just don't have the same magic as the games of old. To them, Fortnite is just a dumb game that only kids play, when in reality it's an actually very well-made game with a super high skill gap that is super exciting and fun to get into. And that's not even to mention that modern day gaming has so many more risk takers and exciting ventures, like Playdead's Inside and the upcoming Kojima's Death Stranding. Because gaming has grown so much, games can target these more niche audiences and create environments and experiences that were just never known before, and that's a great thing. But it's not just games themselves that have gotten better. It's actually the environment and infrastructure around games that has also improved so much. And while people like to shit on microtransactions and in-game loot boxes constantly online, and for good reason, as some are very predatory, I think there's actually a lot of good that has come out of these new microtransaction systems. Let me explain. 30 years ago, the primary business model for games was you buy the game on day one, and then if you want to, you buy DLC packs as the game goes on. And this was totally fine. It was actually a good business model. People would buy what they wanted and they got the full game for the full price, and they didn't have to worry about getting nickeled and dimed for every little purchase in the game. Nowadays, though, it can feel like in most modern day games, even single player ones, you're constantly getting hassled to buy a new hat or cowboy boots for your character for the small fee of $19.99. And while this can seem aggravating at first, what people forget to look past and look at is that the reason this is happening is because so many games are free. And in my opinion, this is such a better business model. As long as these microtransactions aren't actually enhancing a person's ability to play the game and are only aesthetic, then I think it's a perfect business model, especially for younger kids, to get into any game they want and really just enjoy it. Instead of being forced to pay for a game you might not like, you can now almost go play any game you want just at the click of a button. And only after hours and hours of enjoying the game can you choose to, if you so wish, pay money for microtransactions to not only look cooler, but also support the devs that gave you such an awesome experience. And while these loot boxes can be really bad for people with addictive and gambling personalities, these people are in the minority, and I don't think we have to shift gaming back to the DLC model just because some people are having a problem with it. And that's coming from someone who spent way too much money back in the day on FIFA Ultimate packs. That was my fault, not EA's. But I hope people can truly start to see that these free and easy to access games are so awesome. And with new services like Stadia coming out that eventually will mature and become the norm, it's going to be so easy for kids and adults all across the world to just click one button and play any game for free, and only pay when they feel justified in doing so. And on the topic of gaming services, that's actually another big reason why gaming has gotten so much better than it was before. Nowadays, you can pay Xbox a flat fee of $15 a month for Game Pass, which will give you access to all of their first-party titles and whatever other things they have added to their catalog. That's an amazing service. And being able to buy very low cost things like this and just get into gaming and play games that you truly love is what we've always wanted. And I'm happy we're finally getting there. It's so much better than it was before, where you had to drive down, buy a disc, buy the full thing, buy any DLCs you wanted, and then finally get gaming. The barriers to entry are getting torn apart. And finally, the last thing I want to briefly touch on is just why the gaming industry is also getting better for developers. Because almost for as long as the gaming industry has been alive, it has been targeted for rampant attacks of sexism, overworking, and just general bad work environments. But now, in today's modern age, we are finally seeing people start to fight back. It seems that women are getting more rights in gaming workspaces, which is awesome to see, and the idea of just crazy crunch hours is finally getting attacked, which means more and more people will get options at the workplace if they so choose. Nowadays, people are much more conscientious of what's happening at gaming workplaces, and they're fighting to make it better. And that was never happening back in the day. The workplaces are finally starting to mold themselves around a better environment. But not only that, arguably what people care about most, pay, has also been increasing substantially. For example, developer salaries from 2013 to 2019 have increased nominally 35.1%, while the average American across all of the United States had a salary increase nominally of 18.3%. So disregarding inflation, game developers saw almost double the increase in salary over the last 6 years as the average American. And while game developers still don't make as much as an average software developer, it makes sense, right? Because a lot more people want to be game developers. And with the free market and supply and demand, you're naturally going to have lower salaries there. And I don't think game developers are able to complain too much when their average salary in 2019 right now is actually $112,234. But yeah, guys, those are the points I wanted to talk about today. And I'm glad I got to really open up with you guys about why I think gaming is actually just getting so much better nowadays. I think people in the modern age have a tendency to be so negative about things, not only just gaming, but really everything. And I wanted to put a voice out there to talk about why I think gaming and really a lot of things are just getting better. And I think we should all take off our rose-tinted glasses and love for old nostalgic games and really objectively look at this new environment that we are in for gaming and realize that there's a lot of great things going on and great developers making great games. And we should recognize that and recognize that we're living in, quite honestly, a golden age of entertainment that we shouldn't squander and be so negative about. I think there's a reason that gaming has never been so popular. But yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed my video today. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think. And if you ever want to discuss this live with me on stream, check me out at twitch.tv/FranklyGaming. I'd love to talk about these topics with you guys and see what you guys think. But thanks, guys. I really appreciate you coming out today, and I will see you all next Sunday.